Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention? I've just been handed an urgent and horrifying news story, and I need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen.
And is for friends who stuck together. Who is for you and me. It is for anywhere, anytime, and all down there in the deep blue sea. Hey,
What's going on, man?
what's up, man?
Crazy stuff. Obviously, this last 2 weeks we had to take a short break. Obviously, there's a lot of things going on. My birthday just passed. I am 1,000 years old now. So for those wondering,
Happy belated birthday.
appreciate it. Obviously, at the
I
same
don't
time,
know how old he is. It's kind of sad.
yeah, it's brutal out here.
It's brutal.
But yeah, right on. My birthday is on May 31st, and basically on that day, or right before that day, I think, or right after that day, was a lot of the protesting, along with riots. So it's been kind of crazy.
Yeah, that's when everything kind of. That's when
yeah.
the ball dropped.
Yeah, and then it felt like things were getting better because of the whole COVID-19 thing. Was kind of like seemed like it was kind of calming down. Stores were kind of opening up a little bit. Some restaurants, even some bars and clubs were opening up a little bit because they were on June 1st was going to be 50% here, at least in Texas, I believe.
Oh yeah, with this whole rollout program thing.
Yeah. So with all the protesting and the riots, it's like going on basically just about everywhere in the world. For the George Floyd incident in Minneapolis, which was, oh my God, that video was something else.
Bro,
But
that shit shook me. Like,
I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it's like everybody that watched that, anybody that's maybe listening to the podcast right now, if you watched that video, and I'm not saying you should watch it if you don't feel
right.
comfortable and all that stuff, because it is kind of brutal.
Like I had to force myself to watch it. Like I wanted to turn away, but I was like, no, this is gonna be like
Yeah.
important. And bro, I teared up. I legit teared up, dude.
Yeah, I don't blame you. My feelings were pretty much the same. And experiencing that and watching that, I was just like you. I was like, I kind of just want to push stop and just not look at it anymore. But I was on the same page of like, I want to know exactly where in there did this get justified. You know what I mean? And nowhere in the clips that I was able to see.
I mean, hell, the very first clip was even justified. Like your knee isn't supposed to be in the back of anybody's head. That's like
Yeah,
taught.
exactly.
From the research that I've done, it's like taught, don't put your knee in the back of somebody's head. And
Yep.
if you watch that video, as you hear people say, he can't breathe, like get off of him, and then the dude, I don't know, I can't think of his name, but you can see him look at the camera and like press down, like he knew what he was doing. Like
Yeah.
it was, so
Yeah, it's just, oh man, it sucks. It sucks to see cops act that way, And I've always told my friends and stuff like that that anybody can be a cop. That's the unfortunate part, in my opinion. There's no necessarily some kind of educational background that you need or any kind of prior experience. This is like
if
here
you get past the test,
their little exam thing that they have and the physical portion, I believe, and you're in basically. That's what it feels like these days because everybody you see on there is just not everybody, but a good portion of people that you'll see. You'll be like, what's going on?
And it's like you had that happen, right? And then everybody's out protesting, and then you just see even more of this blatant police brutality.
Yeah,
and this is against everybody now. Yeah,
complete disregard of all the laws and everything that's going on in between. And
like you see the one with this 75-year-old man, they pushed him down.
Oh my God!
And then they just walked past him, like somebody was gonna help him, and the dude was like, "Nah, keep going." Like,
yeah.
When I saw that blood come, I was like, "Oh, like, bro, that hurt me." That hurt me.
That's the world we live in. That's the crazy part, right? So yeah, just going back to what we were just talking about, watching the George Floyd video, it was brutal. I wanted to make sure that I knew exactly what happened and what everybody was talking about, and if there was ever a case where people were trying to justify what was going on. Obviously, there was nothing that would justify that at all.
Right, but you know, there's still people out there that would still,
Yeah,
you know,
exactly. There
find
is
some
going to be
kind of way to defend it.
yeah, yeah. I know there's going to be those crazy people that are going to try to defend that, but I mean, you're down there with the knee on your neck for 8 minutes, man. Try to have a knee on your neck for 30 seconds. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And
Hold your
that's
breath.
brutal. Yeah.
Just
And
hold
what
your breath for 30 seconds.
yeah, and what was sad about it is that everybody that watched that or everybody that got to see what ended up happening is literally a murder. It was just
Yeah.
a murder that happened on the internet basically, and everybody got to witness it, and
And it
that was
all
brutal.
started with suspicion of forgery.
A $20 bill, bro. Come on,
and,
Jesus
and then I
Christ.
was even more shocked when you start to see like other angles and videos and pictures. There was three
Mm-hmm.
other guys on him. I'm sorry, two other
Yeah.
guys on him.
Yep. From the
And
other
I was
angle.
just like,
Yeah.
yeah. And I was just like, what the like, oof,
Yeah,
man.
dude. It was brutal. So obviously, one of the things that I've done personally, I know it's not like a major thing, and I don't consider it to be like a huge major thing. But one of the things that I've gone out my way is not to clutter the social media and stuff like that with anything related to whatever I'm doing in general. Like, hey,
Right.
stream, check this out, blah blah. Because there's obviously a more important issue going on at hand.
But see, I'm kind of the different way. I don't. I agree with you,
Mm-hmm.
but at the same time, like I still, share stuff or voice my opinion about stuff that's going on. But every now and then, I'll say something weird. Like I said, I just finished watching Community, right? Just to
Mm-hmm.
get some kind of because you don't always want to see it on your timeline. So like I'm not just like sharing. I mean, I don't post a lot in general already. But you know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? I don't post just a lot of every now and then just to
Yeah.
another
Yeah.
conversation just to take your mind off of it just for a little bit before having
Yeah.
to go back in there.
I understand that. I totally
Yeah.
understand that. There are some people, or I don't want to say some people, there's obviously a huge amount of people that will post, 2-3 times a day, rather it be Facebook, Twitter, Instagram,
It's
whatever.
crazy. Yeah.
And to me, I just felt because, well, we both kind of understand it in some degree because we're both minorities and stuff like that.
Mhm.
But to me, it's just like there's so much other stuff going on that are big issues right now that I just don't want to clutter it with whatever I
Right.
may be trying to do. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
I want people to see my stuff, no doubt, but now's not the time, basically, is the way I saw it. So I was like, you know
Right.
what? I'm just kind of going to take a back
Like
seat on this one.
you're not promoting yourself to anything.
Yeah,
Stuff
exactly,
like that.
exactly. And I will say that I do get a little bit irritated when I do see people, on there and promoting or trying to sell something. I'm just like,
Oh,
ugh,
even the
like,
people that's taking advantage of the protest. Did you see the one?
oh my god, something
The
about
white girl that
the
went to
vegan or
hold
something
the.
like that.
She went to go hold the drill, so a dude could take a picture of her, like pretending like she's helping
Oh yeah,
board
I
up
didn't
the
get to see
stuff.
the whole thing, but I did see like a
It,
quick
it, it
clip
was
of it.
small. So a car rolls up. I think it was like a Benz, Mercedes, or some shit. Car rolls up. Girl hops out, asks to hold the drill, helps the dude do that board. Somebody takes a picture of her, and then she
Wow,
gets back in the car. She goes, "Thank you so much. Black Lives Matters." Gets in the car, and the car just takes off.
wow,
It was just for Instagram posts. A lot of people
wow.
taking advantage. Like
That's what
really,
I'm
you trying
saying.
to
That's
do
what
a
I'm.
photo shoot,
That's like, you don't have to do that.
right?
It's
Like I
not
understand
necessary.
getting pictures, taking pictures of what's going on, but if you posing, trying to make art or oh my god, guys, look at I'm out here helping. You know what I mean? Like that's some bullshit. Like don't fake it. Like,
Exactly.
that kind of puts more eyes on you in terms of like, why would you go out your way to even fake it? You may be low key kind of racist. You know what I mean? You trying to get people off of you. So
hmm
it's crazy, man.
And like you said, people are taking advantage of the situation and they do stuff like that. That's so like heartless.
Yeah,
It's heartless, it's inconsiderate, and
yeah,
it's annoying. And then
very.
and of course you have these other people. They don't even do that. They just kind of annoy me in the sense of like, we all know the term Instagram models and whatever people that are flexing on there. Like you'll see people flexing. I'm like, dude, nobody wants to see you flex right now. And then you'll see girls that are like have their butts hanging out. It's like, listen, I'm a dude. I like booty like the next guy, but just now's not
That
the
ain't
time.
it's not
Like I'm not trying to
warranted
see
for
this.
that.
Yeah, it's like
And they're still
nope.
trying to, use my code at a Shopanova, like whoa, like
Exactly. Like
really?
you're so tone deaf. It seems like it's like you're tone deaf of what's going on. Like there's a lot of other shit going on,
hmm
and but to each their own. But it's just something I need to get off my chest because it does annoy me. And
I'm right there with
so,
you,
so,
man.
so this past like week to week and a half, I've just been kind of taking a back seat and say, you know what, I know I'm not some kind of huge kind of content creator or anything like that, anywhere near that level. But I just, if I can take away any of that clutter, then I'm gonna go ahead and go out my way of doing it. As well as I've considered, haven't done it yet, but I have considered going down there and kind of help some of the shops that kind of got tore up.
Oh,
Just
okay.
kind
Help
of,
clean up.
yeah, just kind of help volunteer a little bit. Kind of keep the message focused.
That'd
That
be
not
nice, man.
that not all people that riot are bad people. You know what I'm saying? Well, not that riot, but the people that are protesting are not bad people. You know what I'm saying?
They're not
The rioters.
thugs.
Yeah, they're not thugs. They're out there, protesting for a good cause. And the people that are taking advantage of that and breaking into, mom and pop shops and big big retailers is like, they're not part of that message, and that's kind of like why I want to go down there and just kind of help out a little bit and just be like, hey, I know this shit's unfortunate. I know you didn't sign up for this. There's a lot of shit that a lot of people didn't sign up for, but just kind of want to let them know that this is not part of that message. Just kind of
Right.
keep it clear. So yeah, but I always have to take into consideration. I got to be cautious, and
But
don't want to
you
be.
know what else this has done for me too?
What's up?
It's opened my eyes even more of people on my friends list
Oh yeah, dude, it's crazy, right?
who who are passive or low key kind of racist. And there's some of them that may not know because of the way they were raised, or they're just really tone deaf or ignorant to it. And
Yeah.
there's some of these people I'm just shocked and amazed. You really like this? This is your true thoughts? Oh, wow, okay. And
Mm-hmm.
it's shocking.
Yeah, it throws you off. I'll see a couple of posts sometimes, and it's just like I get what they're trying to say, but they're just not saying it right. And at the same time, it's probably not your time to talk about it anyway. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's like
Right.
whatever you're saying and whatever you're feeling right now. Trust me, it is not your time right now. And I most of the time I just want to be like, just shut up. You'll be all right.
Yeah.
Shut up. Put the phone down for about a week. You're gonna be okay. You know what I'm saying?
Man.
So it is
And,
it is
and
a little bit annoying.
let me echo this right now too. Taking a knee has never been and will never be about disrespecting the flag. It has nothing to do with that. I'm amazed at how many times I'm still having to explain to people, still 2-3 years later, that it has nothing to do with disrespecting the flag. Y'all are the ones who are saying it's disrespecting the flag or getting butthurt about it. Y'all
Yeah.
are like
Like the
making yourselves angry. We're telling you it has nothing to do with disrespecting the flag.
yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah, so obviously to some people it feels that way, right? Like that's the way they feel. But to the people that are doing the knee, it's for an important situation, important cause, right?
Yes.
So
Yes.
and and I totally get you. You're trying to explain to them and they still don't get it.
No.
But I think in some cases they're just never gonna get it, and in other cases it's like
And I've seen it
what
from their angle. I've seen it from their angle, right? Because
yeah.
this is what blah blah blah. Okay, I get that. I get that.
Yeah, it's like we get
But
it. We get it. We
but
get why you're
everything that
upset.
we get why you're upset. But we're telling you what we're
Yeah.
doing has nothing to do with the reason why you're upset,
Yeah. Exactly.
and y'all just don't want to hear it.
One of the things was like well, it's basically what happened with Drew Brees. I mean, I'm sure I'm
Oh
not sure.
man, yeah, yeah.
So, yeah,
My fathers,
yeah,
my
he's basically saying
grandfathers, and I'm just
exactly.
like, there's black people out there fighting too that were
Yeah,
still beat and killed, even wearing the uniform, still
hmm
killed. You know what I mean?
exactly. And and basically what his teammate was also saying
Which one?
right. Well, one of his teammates was basically just saying like, "Hey, I get it. Your grandparents fought in the war, and this is what it means to you. I totally get that, but you got to understand that my parents or grandparents did it too,
Yeah.
and when they come back, they don't get the same benefits as you. You
Yeah,
know what I'm
this is
saying?
it.
That's
When they
basically
came back, or if they got lost within the war, trying to find a way somewhere, and they're in the uniform, and they were still racist against
Hmm.
the soldiers, and
Yeah.
still killed or hung or beat. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But people don't want to hear it because
Yeah.
it's true.
Yeah. It's crazy. So anyway, not to dig into that subject too much because I think everybody's heard it plenty of
A
times, and
lot
I don't want it
and
to, and I
everywhere.
don't want it to silent either. So I don't want to
Right.
deliver the message that I'm trying to silence it or anything like that.
We're
Definitely
just showing
continue.
that we both
Are aware, right,
are
right.
aware. We're acknowledging it. Shit needs to change.
Definitely needs to change because nobody
Um,
should witness a murder like that ever again.
Trump's whole everything. Instead of talking about that, he was fucking beefing with Twitter. I don't want
Like
to. That's
as a
So
child.
we're just saying that we don't want to go too deep into it or acknowledge again. We are with Black Lives. Yes,
Hmm.
all lives matter. Yes,
But in order for all of them to matter, Black lives need to matter. It's basically what it comes
exactly.
down to. So
Yes. So
so stay safe out there if you guys are out there protesting. If you're out there trying to take advantage of the situation, don't be stupid. Don't riot. Don't deviate from the original message. Don't do that
and
because
shout out
that's
to all my non POCs out there.
hmm
Fighting the fight with us because they see it. So
yeah. So just be safe and be careful. And obviously, we're still in the middle of a pandemic, so you have to take that into consideration and try to avoid um, getting sick. Basically, I mean, try your best. I mean, there's a lot of people um, protesting and out in the streets and stuff like that. So you do
oh
what you
yeah,
can.
cases have already don't want to get too deep into this, but cases have already flared back up. People are starting to die again.
Yeah,
So it's
yeah. It's a crazy time. It's a crazy time, dude.
it's like God is telling America, hey, you need a hard reset. Like,
Yeah,
so
yeah. Um, with that being said, we're gonna talk about basically. We might have mentioned this in the last podcast. I'm not sure, but basically, what we're gonna talk about, or what we wanted to talk about, was, how people create these friendships, or create relationships. Sometimes, um, I think the part that's interesting, given the current state of events, is that when you're creating I think the creation of a friendship is kind of unique, in my opinion, if you kind of break it down as much as you can, and how you meet somebody that you didn't know, and
right.
then you talk to them, and then you have some similar interests, and you basically begin a conversation, and the longer the conversation gets, the more you get to know about the person, and the more you know about the person, I feel like you begin to build this level of trust,
Agreed.
and you start to say like, oh, okay, he's been through this too, or he played football in high school like I did, or something like that, and then you're like, okay, cool, we kind of have some kind of common interest and stuff like that,
Mhm.
and I always thought that not I've always thought that whenever you meet somebody and you try to kick that off with somebody that's not a mutual friend, it's just a stranger, there's like the experiences are so different sometimes. They're like always going to be unique. They're never the same.
Yeah, they're always gonna be, unless it was one of those things. You have like a group of people, like, and we met at a Boy Scout retreat, in the 5th grade, and we've been friends since. But those four will have the same. You know what I mean? That's like
Yeah,
the only
yeah,
occasion. Yeah, we have like a group of friends like that.
right. So sometimes it could be during like maybe you're at work, or maybe it's at school, or maybe it's at during a class, or maybe it's at a gym or something. I don't know, but
Grocery shopping.
or
Yeah,
grocery shopping, and you maybe you speak to a person because there's something that you saw, like, oh, that's a cool shirt. You start talking and all that stuff, or hey, this person couldn't reach the top row of one of the grocery stores areas, and you kind of helped them out, and you kind of started a discussion.
hmm
But then there's always those experiences that are not as pleasant, and they're kind of more awkward. And I've always thought it was funny, like why do people have these awkward moments? In my opinion, I think those moments shouldn't happen, because we're all human beings. You see what I'm
right,
saying?
right.
And because we're all human beings, we should be able to talk to each other as human beings and be able to communicate. We're not dogs, we know that. We're not cats either, you know what I'm saying? So we can communicate. We have a common language, you know what I'm saying? So I've always
Don't
thought it's
don't let Manny fool you. That dude's a dog. So,
I
no, I'm kidding.
know I'm gonna be over here like DMX barking, bro. But yeah, I've always thought as that was interesting, and you know, sometimes you have some really cool friendships, and sometimes you keep in contact with people, and then other times you don't really talk to them a whole lot. You may
just
consider
fall
a
off.
person, yeah, you just kind of fall off, or you consider them a friend, but it's not that type of friend. Sometimes, you know, it's like, okay, I wouldn't talk to them that consistently with, you know what I mean?
Right.
And I've always wondered why that happens, you know. I mean, I don't. Of course, you wouldn't have like really deep friendships with everybody, but what do you think as far as like whenever you talk to somebody new, or maybe it is a mutual person, maybe it isn't as
It's
random.
I think it's either. I mean, of course, it's either uh, a one-way street or a two-way street.
Hmm.
So, and what I mean by that, let me see if I can explain it. So, I can meet somebody and have interest in that person, right? But
Hmm.
then that person can have an interest in me. So we kind of already align and click up, everything's good. Or it can be one person that is interested and the other person isn't, and that one person, if he's really interested in that person, will reach out and try. And it's you know, he'll that person will spark it, and it's up to the other person if they want to receive that spark, you know.
Yeah.
And eventually what will happen is, you know, the other person will just quit trying. The one that was reaching out, first of all, they'll just quit trying, and
Uh
then
huh.
no friendship will happen. Whereas, you know, if he does keep trying and the person receives it, then a friendship could blossom. But then you got different levels, right? You got like associates, you got like, hey, yeah, he's my friend, he's cool, people you cool with, and then you got like best friends, and then you got like family, you know.
Yeah, yeah. You know what's you brought up something very important. I think because you brought up the one way or two way street.
Hmm.
Um, there is there's obviously that weird gray area that happens at the beginning of, let's just call it the friendship area, right?
Hmm.
And there's a at the very beginning of that, there's this moment, you know, like I said, that sometimes can be a little bit awkward. It doesn't always have to be awkward, but there's that moment where, you know, if they're both people, let's say there's both people of the same gender, or maybe they're opposite genders, depending on the case, you know, because every case is
Hmm.
going to be different.
True, true.
There's always going to be this small sense of like your guards kind of up, right? Like, you know, what does this person want from me? You know, what are
Oh
you
yeah, because you
expecting?
don't know them. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, you don't know them. What are you expecting out of me? I don't even know you. You know, you always want to be on your guard. Totally respect that.
Right.
Um, and then, of course, depending, I guess, on your background, and again, sometimes your gender, it could be like, okay, this guy, you know, he could be awkward. He can be some kind of weirdo. What's going on? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
and then, for maybe a girl, it could be like, what's up with the situation? Why does she cover her face so much, or what's going on? Is she hiding something? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I totally get that, and I think there's that one area for a lot of people where it's just like they don't know what to expect, so they automatically assume the worst, I think.
Hmm.
And because of that, I think that makes the initial step more difficult to create something that's meaningful, rather it be a friendship or if something that leads to a relationship. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I, what I want to say to anybody that's listening, sometimes it's just about just chilling and just talking and just letting it go with the flow.
Just
It
having
doesn't mean
a chill, organic conversation.
exactly, and that doesn't necessarily mean you're gonna be fully invested down the road or the next day or in the future. It just basically means that, hey, you're open to have a conversation about anything. You know, you have nothing to be ashamed about. Even if you feel like you do, it's like this person doesn't know you and you don't know them. You know what I mean?
Right. Right.
So why don't you just chill and have a regular conversation? Don't have this unreasonable expectation from anybody that you talk to, even if the experience is short. You know,
Hmm.
and and I think when you go in with that mindset, you end up having, more friends, or you end up talking to more people more frequently. I was talking to, who was I talking to? I was talking to a friend, and she happened to be a female, and she was just kind of like, she's like, oh, I think she had this weird thing in her head, like, oh, what do you expect, or something like that. It's like, I don't Like, I don't know
What
what
do
you
you
mean
mean?
by
What do you
that.
respect? Oh, and
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
w-
like
okay.
I think she was trying to figure me out, you know, in the
So she
sense
was
of like,
just open up. What do you expect? Like, what do you want from this, basically?
yeah, what do
From this
you what
interaction.
this, yeah, this exchange, you know,
Gotcha, gotcha.
and it kind of threw me off because I was just like, wow, that was like, to me it threw me off because I didn't expect that, but at the same time it was almost what's the word? I can't think of the word right now, but it's basically I appreciated the directness at the same time, you know,
Gotcha. You like
and
the bluntness of it,
yeah,
because
I
that way
did.
you
It didn't
don't.
come off rude either. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's not like it came off rude or anything like that. It was just kind of like, okay, I wasn't expecting that, you know, to come out her mouth and stuff like that. But it's like, okay, what do you when that kind of message is sent to you, it's like, well, what do you expect? To me, it's I was kind of ready for that because of how I'm talking about it now.
Hmm.
I was kind of like, I don't really have an expectation. I'm just kind of out here getting to know people, just having a good time, having a drink, and just chilling, you know.
As you should.
Yeah, yeah, exactly, as you should, as normal people do. And I think some of that shocks people. Sometimes it's like, oh, really? Like, you're really out here for just this? And it's like, yeah, I'm really just out here for this. I'm here for this experience alone. You see what I'm
Right.
saying? So to me,
But
it's like,
you're not. There's no ulterior motive.
yeah,
Like you're.
exactly.
Yeah, you're
There's
not going
there's
out with the goal of like I'm trying to
a
fuck somebody. I'm trying to get some X amount of number. I just want to go and just
and
experience and to have
yeah,
fun at the night. Yeah.
yeah, have fun and have a conversation. If it goes to something else, if that was maybe the intention or the tone of the day or the night, then it'd be maybe a little bit different. But even then, it's just kind of like, it's we're out here, we're two people that are just having a good time,
Right.
and when it's not, someone that you're, maybe interested in or whatever. It's just, you keep it very open like that. It makes things a lot easier because they start to feel like they can trust you. Like, okay, cool. Like, I can open up to you a little bit more about, what I do or what I've gone through and stuff like that,
Hmm.
and I think that's where, to me personally, I think that's really cool. Like, to hear about people's story, because everybody is a story. Everybody's a different book.
Right.
And the more books you go through, the more you start to realize, okay, this person does this person's like a millionaire, and this person's like, has gone through some struggles, and you start to see a lot of different backgrounds. And I've met a lot of people. I've traveled a lot, and I've met some people, but even though I've seen, well, not seen, but I have heard of different backgrounds, from people that I talk to, they never were very long conversations. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So I always got, instead of getting the full like cinematic trailer, I always just got a teaser. You know what I mean?
I feel you. Okay.
Yeah. So that's the best way I can put it. You know what I'm saying? So nowadays, when I do talk to people or we're having a conversation, it's like I'm just out there like, hey, tell me about yourself. What's going on? What's
Like
with
you
you?
actually show interest in that person.
Yeah, exactly. That we have time. Like, we're not going anywhere, right? Especially in these moments. It's like everything seems a little bit limited, so we have more time to talk. And we can discuss each other's interest and struggles and what's going on. And I
And
think
just really just get to know each other.
yeah. And when you do that, that's when you build that important factor, which is basically trust, and you build a friendship. You know what I mean?
And I want to stress when I say organic, it has to be like back and forth. If it's just like one person talking, like it's what I mean. It has to be
Yeah.
back and forth.
Yeah, and it has to be back and forth, and like you said, you don't want to force it either, right?
Yeah.
So if anything else, whatever the discussion may be, and I know some people are just like, no, I'm just kind of awkward, a little bit socially, awkward in this sense. It's like, listen, everybody's a little bit socially awkward at first, but
Yep.
just like anything else, if you keep playing soccer, you're gonna get good at soccer. You know what I'm saying? You keep playing chess, you're gonna get good at chess.
You just gotta
You
put
know?
yourself out there if you
Yeah,
want it. If you want
yeah,
it.
obviously it'll be easier when you're around a group of people, but I think one of the things is, whatever the discussion may be between you and that other person, or you and that group of people, is whatever that discussion is, rather it be about current events, gaming, sports, cars, fashion, whatever.
Hmm.
You know, there's gonna be somewhere in there in between, since those are general topics, where you can definitely just kind of put your 2 cents and just be like, oh yeah, I like this jacket, I
It's
was
a
looking
common
for
interest.
exactly, and you can just say, yeah, I kind of like these jackets. These are kind of my colors that I like. I like to dress, even if you're like, I like to dress mostly all in black. I was like, hey, that's your thing, man. Whatever. But you gotta
Rocket.
say, you rock it and accept it and go with it, and you'd be surprised how much more conversation you'll get out of it. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
And you'll end up having more people that you can communicate with, people that you can bond with. So I've always thought the idea of friendship was kind of funny because there's so many people that are very like on guard, and it's a trip to me because I'm just like, listen, we're just out here, we're all out here doing the same shit, so let's just chill and have a conversation,
But it could be like from like
from
a
previous
bad
experiences.
situation. Yeah, from previous experiences, which we get that. Shit happens. Not everything goes,
Mhm.
right. But you just gotta when you yourself are ready to just muster up and have that courage to get back out there. Go with it full force. Don't half-ass it. Be full force with it.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah,
well,
and then going from that into the more deeper thing, which is a relationship, right?
okay.
So for in a
Or like
relationship,
the friend relationship, like the okay, right?
well, we'll talk about how you go from basically like the friend relationship into an actual relationship. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, okay.
So obviously, whenever you've already built trust and you've created a friendship and you have this relationship, friendship type of thing going, it's like, hey, what's up, bro? Or hey, what's up, girl? This and that, and you guys are still talking about it. You guys you guys start to like really take it to the next level. You start to really open up about even more previous experiences, like as you were younger and
Hmm.
as you were like maybe with your parents or your family and stuff like that. So I think that part, when you get deeper into that kind of stuff, I think it's always that's the part that's like the juicy part to me. I mean, I'm not the type of person that's like, oh, I'm just out there just to hear everybody's background now. I don't want to
Right, right. I
make
mean,
it seem like the
you have to be interested in that person to hear that
yeah,
background.
exactly, and it also depends on how open they are too. If they become more and more open, you start to see like, okay, cool. And as that's going on, I know some people will struggle with this, and I've
Oh
been
yeah.
I've been I've been one myself, to be honest with you. When people are opening up to you, there's a reason that's happening. The main reason is that again they genuinely trust you. They feel like this is something that they can share with you. This is a moment that maybe they feel vulnerable, but they know that around you they're not as vulnerable or they don't feel as vulnerable. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I know that let's say they're going through a hard time, maybe they went through a breakup, or maybe they have a loss in the family. When you're there, you may feel like, shoot, there's a lot of emotion going on. I'm not sure how to deal with it. Just be considerate. That's all you got to do.
That's all you
It's
got to
just
do.
just be considerate. Understand that they're going through some hard shit, and if you can't really comprehend, even if this person is not somebody you've known for many many months, but when they're going through that, just imagine the hardest shit you've ever gone through. You know what I mean? Whether it be a loss in your family, maybe it was you going through a breakup, or maybe you didn't pass an exam, something that really just kind of like made you feel like, damn, that sucked. Whatever that is, just multiply that a couple times, and I'm pretty sure that's probably what they're going through. You know what I mean?
And and honestly, one thing that I started adapting and
Mm-hmm.
doing is talking to people if they're like if they're coming to me with a problem or I'm trying to help them with a problem, and I'll be upfront with them, and I'll say, I'm not, I'm gonna be honest with you. I clearly don't like can't even fathom what you're going through right now. If it's something extreme, you know what I mean. Just
Mm-hmm.
know that hey, I'm here for you. Just reach out to me. I'll help you any way I can. Sometimes that's all
That
that
goes
they
a
need.
long way, dude.
Exactly.
It goes a long way. I know
Yeah.
some people will think about like, wow, man, that stuff is like nothing. I was like, they can do it, they can handle it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you'd be surprised, dude. You'd
Yeah.
be surprised just a little
Hella
thing like
surprised.
that, how much that'll help somebody feel. It'll make you feel like, dang, like, this whole time, you don't know what's going through their head. You gotta also remember that.
That too.
You're not sure what's going through their mind. Maybe whatever they're telling you is the edited version, and in their head they got the director's cut, and they feel like they want to just end life right now. You know what I mean?
You're right.
So because whatever they're sharing with you, they're doing it in confidence. You got to also consider that what they're not sharing. So when they're going through those moments, just kind of be a little considerate and try to help them out and see if you can do anything for them. And then, of course, if you start going towards the other side of like, okay, maybe you kind of like this person now. You know what I'm saying? Maybe you guys kind of like each other. You know, I think rather it happens slow or fast. I think it's always important to not have that expectation. I think.
Right.
Unless I guess, if you really, really, really want to be aggressive about it and trying to go out there and look for something, but
Or you talking about like them as in like trying to get with them, talk to
yeah,
them like? Okay,
like
I thought
actual,
you just mean like them as a person.
no, like them is like you're trying to create an actual relationship with them, an actual like
More than
next level of
friends.
bond. Yeah, more than friends.
Gotcha.
You're trying to get yourself outside the friend zone. You know what I'm
Trying
saying?
to get your dick wet. No, I'm kidding. Nah,
You're trying to get some next level stuff. Yeah, I think if you don't have like some big expectation, then I think you're better off that way. I think that's one. Every time I hear about stories, that's always been the number one issue. The expectation wasn't set right, and because the expectation was unreasonable, even though they didn't feel like it was unreasonable, people get let down, and then friendships get ruined, and a bunch of stuff happens. Things get awkward. You know what I'm saying?
But you can't go in expecting it unless it's already been discussed. Does it make sense?
Say that again.
Like, you don't go in expecting something unless the two people has had a conversation of what this is going to be or what's going to happen.
Yeah.
If you just like, hey, let's hang out. Okay, cool. Just expect a hangout. Like that's the only thing you should be expecting. You know what I mean? Just a hangout. You know. So
Yeah. It's. I think that's something good to consider. Obviously, even if it's a hangout, you'll have to be able to get the messages in between, and I think that's probably the most difficult part. That's why sometimes when I hear that, like, oh, what do you expect out of this? It's like, wow, that's pretty direct. It's like, I'm not offended anyway, but it's like the fact that you're so direct is good, you know,
Right.
because there's no miscommunication, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and sometimes one of the people that are seem to be interested in each other, that might be just something that you guys have to be clear on. Like, maybe you do have to be direct sometimes, or maybe you just got to be able to tell a person's feelings depending on what their actions are. What are they doing? Where are they taking you to? Where are you guys at? So what do you feel though is important, I guess, in your opinion, when you're trying to take something from a friendship into a relationship, or the opposite of that, which is like not even friends, but you're kind of like trying to go straight into a relationship. You just kind of met this person, you're just kind of trying to hang out. In today's day and age, there's all these apps where you just swipe. You know what I mean?
Right.
And sometimes I always what I hear people talk about that is like, okay, let's just be honest. You're not gonna swipe right on your next husband right now or next wife. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's just not gonna happen like that. It's like, okay, this person, this is it. It's gonna be it. It's like
We met. Oh my God. We're
yeah,
married.
exactly. That's an unreasonable expectation, I feel. What do you feel?
Yeah. No, I agree with you. That's unreasonable. But what you asked is how would I go? I mean, how would I go about trying to escalate a friendship?
Yeah, like what would you do?
I mean, hell,
What do you think is reasonable?
shit. Hell if I know. I'm still single as fuck, man.
Oh my God.
I mean,
I'm single too. It's okay.
Okay, but you've had, a decent, you've had.
Okay, I'm ready.
no
Well, you know what?
relationships.
I was in a relationship for many, many years, so I'm recently
Yes.
fairly new single. So I get what you're saying. Yeah.
But no, for me, you're recently single. I've been eternity single.
Eternity, damn, the way you said that.
I mean, I can tell you, like, I know in high school, early 20s, I know, and I'll admit, and I even have like two homegirls, they're friends now, but they'll even admit that I was annoying. Like, I was like, no, I was like, hey, hi, hey, like trying to make that connection because I was hella interested. But I myself didn't notice that, okay, they're interested as well, but back the fuck up a little bit. And I was just like, hammering, didn't go anywhere. So, and then now I've also tried the, you should be friends before your lovers path,
Mm-hmm.
right? And that's backfired many times too, because after we built this friendship, when I try to ask, be like, hey, I like you, uh I'm just a friend,
Mm-hmm.
because they don't want to lose what we built, right? So
Yeah.
now I'm just chilling to the fact of, um I know, how at the end of the last, was, I don't know if the last one or what, has I like this girl, or you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I
That's,
remember.
yeah, that's just gonna go ahead and wipe that away. Oh, it's just, I
Oh.
mean, it's she lives different state,
Ah. Okay.
and
Okay.
just being realistic, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
So now it's just like, just chilling and being me. I'm not looking for it. It is
Right.
not a need
Mm-hmm.
at all, but it is a very high as fuck want.
Yeah.
Like,
it's
I
like
want,
it's like a
like,
Lambo. You're like, I want a
bruh,
Lambo.
yeah, dude, I want to fucking hold my hand, fucking let me cuddle with you, scratch my head, fucking boop me in the nose and shit, make me some pancakes, all that shit. It's a strong want. It's not a need, but it's a
Yeah.
want.
I feel you. I feel you.
What about you?
I think I mean I like how you shared all those things about how
Oh,
um
I'm an open book.
yeah, yeah. I think it's really cool because it gives different perspective for people that may be listening. I think for me it's just like I'm in a position where it's not a need as well. It's not
Mhm,
something like I absolutely need because I think for me it's a little different because I've been in relationships for a very long time and stuff,
mhm.
and I am in no huge rush to just jump into anything crazy. You know what I mean, or go into any kind of super commitment.
Right.
But I think keeping an open mind and having the right expectation when meeting with somebody or talking to someone, and you kind of like are, maybe going past that friendship phase, that I think taking it slowly that way is probably best in some situations. Definitely for me, because it's just like there's no reason for to jump into anything serious. And if somebody doesn't respect that, then it's kind of like it's unfortunate. I always think that an experience with somebody, let's just say you do get involved with somebody to some level of like, I guess romantically, you know what I mean?
Right.
And you guys kind of hook up or whatever. I've always thought that those experiences, I know a lot of guys that will just be like, oh, okay, yeah, like I'm just gonna hook up with this girl and that girl or whatever, you know what I'm saying? And there's some lady friends that will say something similar in some sense. They'll be like, oh yeah, I was talking to this guy or whatever. And it's like, okay, cool, whatever, to each their own.
Hmm.
But most of those cases usually end with people getting ghosted. You know what I mean?
Oh,
And
let me tell you. Yes.
most of the situations end up with people getting ghosted. And I'm just like, I've always thought that those experiences, at least in my opinion, don't have to end in that way or don't necessarily have to end on a negative note. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, this person just wanted this and it is what it is.
Hmm.
I think in some cases you'll be able to tell even after that, after getting involved romantically, that you can tell like, okay, it was cool. We had a good time, or we had fun, or we hung out, or we had a couple of good nights out, but it seems like it's still not clicking. You know what I mean?
Right. Right.
And I think again, I know I've said it already several times. I think it's the expectation of both people being able to realize that and be like, okay, you know what, it's not gonna work out or whatever. But of course, if it does work out, that's freaking bomb too. You know what I'm saying? It's like, okay,
Yeah. Of course.
cool, like you got this thing to work out, but I think it has to go at the right pace between you two. Some people are really fast, some people are really slow.
Right. Right.
But I've always thought that experiences like those should not end negative, and and they shouldn't have to, at least. Like for example, if I'm talking with somebody and I meet somebody, I'm like, hey, how's it going? And everything goes well, and let's say down the road, maybe a couple days or maybe a few weeks, like we keep hanging out, and all of a sudden we kind of like hook up or whatever, and we just kind of like not feeling each other too well. Like it shouldn't be like, oh, stop talking to me, because like you can still have that friendship. Like that to me is still salvageable. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, oh, it's like, okay, yeah, we had an experience, but I shouldn't ruin the fact that we can still share each other's opinions, kind of hang out, go out with other people, and be in a big group of people. You know what I'm saying? So I've always thought that was interesting. And some people will say, no, man, that's just impossible. You just can't do it. You shouldn't do it. You should stop. Don't waste your time. It's like,
so
I'm just like,
so currently, if you are, dating around and stuff, or if you meet somebody, let's say another female, are you just upfront with, not on anything, or, just kind of, trying to meet new people? Like, how are you right now in terms of?
For me, honestly, if I meet with somebody,
for all the ladies that's listening, if they trying to crack it,
no, don't. Dizzle's the man. That's the man for you right there. But for me, if I meet somebody and I'm talking to somebody, I think I'm generally pretty upfront, and it also depends on how the initial conversation goes. I'm pretty easy, in my opinion, to talk to. I can start up a conversation. We'll start talking about things. We'll talk about work. We'll talk about current events. We'll talk about things that we like, food that we like, different types of fashion. There's always a lot of general stuff that people can talk about, and carry the conversation. I've always been curious about what people are trying to achieve. I think that's a really cool conversation to have. Not everybody will open up very quickly like that, but some people do. And you kind of ask the question of like, oh yeah, what is it you're trying to do, or what is it you're going to do down the road, or whatever. It's just something very simple,
right? And
you can kind of carry the conversation from there and just be like, oh, okay, so you're trying to do that. You're trying to get a better life. Totally respect that. I'm trying to do the same, et cetera, et cetera. But along those lines, in there, I'll definitely would make it clear that I'm just trying to get to know somebody, especially if it's the first time I meet someone. If it's the first time I meet somebody, the reality is, and I think people don't realize this, the reality is it's the first time you met somebody, and maybe that night is magical. Maybe it is. It can very well happen, but it may not be as magical as you think it may be. You know what I'm saying? You have to keep that in mind, and that's totally okay. And because of that, and because it's the first time you meet somebody, your response to anybody really should be, I'm just trying to get to know you. Thanks. You know what I'm saying? I'm just trying to get to know you. I don't know anything about you. Thanks. We met through either a mutual friend or some random ass app, and we're here. So there's some kind of common interest, and that common interest was for us to meet each other. You know what I'm saying? And get to know each other. So I think to me, it's like I think that's reasonable. And rather it be the guy or the girl that maybe they're trying to have something by the end of the night, that's something you kind of have to gauge, and initially, it's not always this case, but initially the girl will let you know which way they're trying to go, with you. And but generally I'm just upfront about it. It's like, I don't have an expectation. I'm not here coming with like, oh man, tonight's gonna be a good night,
Right.
No, it's just like, hey, I'm just trying to get to know somebody. Maybe I get to know them better. Maybe they'll tell me about their family now. Maybe they'll tell me about their future goals and stuff like that. And to me, that's that experience in a friendship or in a relationship or something that you're trying to develop into a relationship. To me, that's very cool. In the sense of like, you got to meet somebody, you talk to somebody, you built some level of trust, and you are able to communicate with somebody as a human being. Like that to me still blows my mind when people don't communicate as people do. You know what I mean?
People just find it hard.
Exactly. It's just like, listen, people do this all the time. Rather you be paying bills online, doing anything, you know what I'm saying? And I think it's always more important. Personally, I think it's always more important that you actually have a conversation with somebody, rather it be physically or over the phone, than through text. That's my number one recommendation to anybody.
Bro, I'm the same. But people, I love having phone conversations, but people this day and age don't fuck with that shit.
No, I agree with you, and I understand.
Like you're calling me. Like, are you?
It's almost like you're
dying?
disrespecting them.
Like, yeah, I'm just like, no,
It's
dude,
like, bro, chill out, chill
why
out. You do
didn't
that.
you? Why didn't you just text me? Like, what the?
Yeah.
I hate
It's
that.
like, yeah, it's like, it's not like, especially if it's not someone that you call on a day to day basis. You know what I'm saying? It's like
Yeah.
somebody that you know maybe once a week or once a month or something like that. You know, it's like, hey, you know, I'm just seeing what you was up to. This is what I've been up to. You know, I'm not sure if you're free. Blah 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 blah. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So if you can have a phone conversation, or if you can actually meet in person to have a conversation, I think that is way more meaningful than a text. Because in a text, I'm not sure if you guys have, if anybody has heard this. In a text, it's hard to convey the intention in the text.
Oh, right. Yeah, you can't.
know.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can say, "Hey, let's go out for drinks," but then they may read it as like, "Yo, let's go out for drinks." You know what I'm saying? So like, whoa, what's going on? You know what I mean?
Right.
So it can come off very, very, very different. So be careful. I would say be careful in your wording. And I know for some people, you know, some people like to talk slang most of the time in text, and you'll see it. And you know, some people enjoy that. And if you're in that kind of friendship or relationship that you're trying to build, then I
Rock
guess
it.
go with that. Yeah,
Yeah.
rock it if it works for you. I'm not saying that you have to speak proper English to these individuals. I'm just saying that you have to be able to gauge that as a person. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Everybody communicates in different levels. So, and the more that you can adapt, the better, really.
True.
But
True. But
I've
try
always-
having an actual pick up the phone and have a phone conversation.
yeah, that'll
It's
always
so
be
nice. It's so refreshing, man.
Now, if you do FaceTime, that's a little too much for me. Okay, you need to relax with that shit. FaceTime, I'm in the elevator. I'm in the restroom. What's going on?
Like, I don't even like looking at myself sometimes. I don't want you looking at me right now.
I'm not trying to look up your nostrils right now. You need to relax. But yeah, I mean, I think the process of building up friendships and maybe even creating relationships is always been funny to me or kind of interesting to me, because it's like I try to do my best, especially if it's somebody that I don't talk to frequently or I just started talking to. I try my best to make them feel comfortable, you know.
Good,
And you have to gauge that. And I know to some people it's like, fuck that. Like, I'm not gonna waste my time trying to make somebody feel comfortable. Make me feel comfortable. And if you always think like that, then it's always gonna come off very selfish and disingenuous. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, to me, it's like, I've obviously, like I mentioned earlier, I've talked to many people, and I've done, some media stuff in the past. But after a while, you can kind of understand, when someone's talking to you, why they're probably shy, or why they're a little nervous, or why their guard's a little up. But the more you talk to them, and maybe sometimes the more you share with them, they start to feel like, oh, okay, well, I used to do that too. Like, oh yeah, I used to skateboard and I busted my knee. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And that's just kind of how it goes, So maybe people listening on the podcast today can be like, you know what? I never thought about that. I never thought about, looking at it that way, setting the right expectations, maybe going out of my comfort zone, speaking with somebody and seeing like, what is it they like? What is it I like, and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And build a friendship,
That's what it's all about, man.
Yeah, I mean, don't. I know some people are like, I'm a loner, but not really. I mean, if you get out there a little bit, you won't
Experience
be a
the
loner.
world. Talk
Yeah.
to people.
That's one of the things. One of the many things I've been paying closer attention to and experiencing. Like, it's like why be so closed off? I've been so closed off. I feel like for a long time, even though I was doing a whole lot, and I feel like nowadays is like I'm more welcoming to people that want to have a conversation and whatnot.
You
There's
know why that changed?
Oh yeah, I know why it changed.
Because you decided that. You decided
Yeah.
to be more open.
Exactly. And it also would help with that change were my friends and family. You know what I'm saying? People that help, like yourself and other people that I speak to and my family, like, just like they reminded me of how many people are actually around me too. So knowing that has given me a small boost of confidence in the sense of like, I can talk to other people. You know what I'm saying? It's cool, And if somehow they get offended in the conversation just because you try to speak with them, then that's on them, really.
Yeah.
Because I can tell you right now, like if we have a conversation, we're gonna have a good time. We're just gonna chill. We're gonna, go wherever it is we're going, or eat or drink or whatever. And it's just gonna be fun, you know. There's not gonna be this unnecessary or unreasonable pressure that doesn't need to be there in the first place. You know. So,
I agree.
you know,
I agree. So what about would you there's different levels of friendship too, right?
yeah. I mean, there's
You got
there's
like
you got like the acquaintance friendship, I guess. You're like, oh yeah, I kind
yeah,
of know him.
like you see them at parties and stuff, but we speak to each other, but that's about it. And then you got like uh the good friends, or bet no, I'll just say good friends. This is ones you see more regularly uh outside of parties and stuff. You know what I mean, like other functions and such. Well, no, you'll still hang out. I don't know. What do you think? Because I think everybody's is different. Like I have mindset, but what's yours?
For the levels of friendship.
Yeah, like how do you categorize it?
Oh, I would categorize it as okay. So best friends is probably like your highest level. Best friends are usually like family, essentially. You consider them
Okay,
family.
okay, yeah,
Um,
yeah.
so usually, and nobody should be offended by this, but usually when you have a group of best friends, those group of best friends are generally about a handful of them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Maybe it may be two handfuls at most, but generally it's about a handful. You have like 3 to 5 friends.
Five,
Yeah,
yeah,
three
five
to five.
max.
Yeah, 3 to 5 friends that you really like
Fuck with.
those. Yeah, that you really like. You anything you do, they got your back on it, no matter what, rather it be good or bad. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? It's like if you graduated college or you got a new what do you call it, a raise at your job, they're there to like be there to party with you. Or if you messed up and you crashed or something, they're there to be there. You know what I'm saying?
yep,
As Kevin Hart said one time says, their bullshit is your bullshit and your bullshit is their bullshit. You know what I mean?
facts. That is
Yeah.
facts.
So those are best friends, and it's hard to get in that circle. So no one should feel offended if you're not in that circle, because there's certain things you got to do and experience with an individual to get to that point. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Sometimes it takes a lot of time, and sometimes it's not a whole lot of time. It's more about the amount of experiences you have with that individual.
It could be many experiences. It could be like one like
Life
big
changing.
experience. Yes,
Yeah.
life changes that just made y'all ever since the day y'all are close. It could be
Yeah.
several different mini stuff. Like I think, like you think about me and you, right?
Hmm.
I mean, we didn't have like one big, like, oh my God, Manny, change of life. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, ours was just
I did it. That's good.
no, ours was the Texas bar fights and the absolute battles. You know what I mean? And then that was just constantly. I mean, not constantly, but just like seeing each other out and about
Frequently. Yeah.
frequently. Yeah,
Yeah.
and
Exactly.
then it just built off that. Shit, I can't remember. I know I reached out to you when I was started to stream,
Yeah. I
and then
remember.
I honestly can't remember when we actually started hanging out and shit. But I love you like a brother.
There you
You're
go.
my no, like for real. Like as of right now, and this is all on you, Mister. No, I'm kidding. I have like if and when I'm getting married, you're up there. You and the
Oh, that's what's
groomsmen's up
up.
there.
That's
Yeah.
what's up, man. Yeah, I appreciate it. That's good. That's good. I'm gonna be there. I might call in, but I'm just saying.
Oh, okay. Okay. I'll keep that in mind.
I'm
Let
just
me write
kidding.
that
I'm
down.
kidding. Oh, what do you call it? But yeah, like, so the categories again, it's like you have that level of up there, that you would include in those type of circles. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And then the next step down from best friend is usually like a good friend. A good friend being someone that you'll probably hang out from time to time. Not as frequently as your best friends. Um, if basically like if there was like a big event coming up, there's probably a high chance you're probably gonna go with your best friend rather than your good friend.
Hmm.
But but if for some reason, obviously your best friends are not around, you would go with your good friends or whatnot if they're interested in the same thing.
It's just the picking order. Start from the top and go down.
Yeah, it's the draft. It's the friends draft. But again, I mean, everybody has different levels and stuff like that. Like, or they categorize you or they have you in different levels. So you have to be able to kind of figure that out either between each other or by yourself. Like how do they see me? Do they treat me this a certain way? And you can kind of know right away. You know what I'm saying? Because there's like certain things that you guys will do. And then after that, after good friends, it's basically just general friends. Every once in a while, you'll probably have a conversation, usually primarily via text, or like messenger or something like that. You hardly will ever talk to this person. But it's mainly that's how you do your conversations. And after that is really just acquaintances. You may consider them friends, but they're not really people that you talk to in any kind of form or fashion.
Like if they come to you asking for like $500, you're kind of just like, I don't
yeah,
got it. Versus your best friends, like, oh hell man, yeah man, don't worry about it.
yeah. That's usually how it's gonna work. So you have your best friends, your good friends, some general friends, and then basically acquaintances. You know what I'm saying? People that you've met at maybe at a bar, at an event, or somewhere, and you've kind of kept contact in some form, but not really. And then you run into them again, like, oh hey, it's been a while. The acquaintances are usually the people that you somehow forgot their name. You're like, what is that person's name again?
That's
Shit.
true. It's
It's like you're cool with them. You're cool with them. You just can't remember the name today. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of the way I see it. I'm sure there's many more categories for other people, but that's kind of the way I see it. And I mean, if you want any of those friendships, to anybody that's listening, if you want any of those friendships to flourish into something more or level up, then you just kind of have to talk to each other.
Level up yourself first.
Yeah, you level up yourself and be willing to get out of your comfort zone, basically. So I'm not sure if people have seen this in the past. I'm probably sure you've seen it before, Dizzho, where somebody posts something on Facebook saying, "Oh, I'm going to go to this event or concert." You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, "Oh, is that person that I've talked to? I haven't talked to them in a while, but I like to talk to them again if I get a chance."
Right.
And you see that they're going to an event or a concert. Then that's the part that I'm talking about. Maybe you need to get out of your comfort zone and go to this concert that, maybe it's not something you're super interested in, but you're kind of interested in, and you're also interested in the fact that they're going to be there. Maybe you guys can meet up and you can message them. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Be like, hey, I saw that you might be going there. I mean, I'm not sure if you have room for one more or whatever. And they may be like, yeah, or maybe be like, oh, no, I'm kind of full. You have to gauge it. And but if they're but if they look like they're willing, then that is your opportunity. You know what I'm saying?
Take it.
Yeah, that's your opportunity. Like, okay, let's talk to this person. Let's have some more conversation. Maybe you guys hang out, buy each other drinks or whatever. And it doesn't matter who it is, rather be guy or girl. Just kind of like as a good favor, like, oh, hey, thank you for having me out here. Here's a drink, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then and just make the best of it. Make the best of it. And of course, if they're not even available, or let's say they already have plans with a bunch of other people, it's all right. I mean, just have that expectation. Expect that they may say no. It's like, okay, they already made plans with other
don't
best
expect
friends.
them to say yes. Like that's
exactly.
Don't be expecting shit that you don't know.
You got to remember, you got to go down the draft again. They're going with their best friends. Best friends don't show up. They're going with the good friends. Good friends don't show. Then they go to general friends and maybe an acquaintance if somebody reaches out. You know what I mean?
Right.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, it's kind of a weird way how the world works, but that's just kind of how it is, because there's different, and the biggest factor again, there's different trust levels, and the higher you are in the trust category, then the more that you're a part of that person's life, really. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So it's very interesting. So I think it was something that would be interesting to see if anybody that may be listening as to what their thoughts may be, and how they go about stuff.
Yeah, that was.
I think we did pretty good, actually. We're probably at the end of this one, unless you have something to add.
No, that was a. I think that was a good conversation. I would say that, hey man, I appreciate you for being my top echelon family, my like a brother up there. Thank you for being in my life and being there for me and helping me and shiznit when need be, man. Appreciate your friendship.
Absolutely, and I definitely appreciate you for obviously things that have not been discussed here.
Facts.
But for definitely being there.
We can get into it though if you want to. I'm kidding.
You know, it's gonna stay on a positive note. Oh my god! But yeah, I mean, anybody that's listening, hopefully you guys have been enjoying the podcast. Obviously, there was been a lot going on in the last 2 weeks, so we had to kind of step away for a quick second there and let us know what you guys think, rather it be in the comments or on our social media or whatnot. But I guess we're gonna have to catch you guys next time.
Next time, and hopefully soon. We'll gauge this whole COVID stuff, and we can go back to doing it, back to face.
Yeah.
And we gotta get some guests.
Yes, I think we're at that point now. I think we're at the point where it's like, okay, it's time to bring some guests, and maybe we can bring some of these conversations back temporarily just to see what they think. What are their thoughts?
Oh yeah.
And see where they go from there. So that'll be good. It's gonna be fun. Slowly but surely.
Yes.
All right, man. That's it for me.
That's it for me, man.
Catch you all next time.
Peace.